Ever noticed how some people smile at you, but something feels off? Like there's a hidden layer beneath their words, an unspoken tension they won't admit? In Stoicism, we learn that people rarely say what they truly feel. Instead, their actions reveal the truth. If you pay attention, you'll start to notice subtle but undeniable signs that someone dislikes you, even if they pretend otherwise. Today, we'll break down 10 key behaviors that expose concealed resentment, no matter how well they try to hide it. But before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to support our journey. Your engagement helps us keep creating insightful content like this, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. Fake compliments and overly polite. A person who dislikes you but hides it will often go out of their way to sound friendly, too friendly. Their compliments might feel rehearsed, their laughter forced, and their tone just a bit too polished. They'll say things like, "Oh wow, that's so interesting," with a flat voice or an exaggerated smile. Their words might be positive, but their energy tells a different story. Stoics teach us to value sincerity over flattery. A person who genuinely likes you doesn't need to sugarcoat their words. They speak naturally with warmth and authenticity. But when someone harbors resentment, they often mask it with excessive politeness. It's their way of maintaining social harmony while keeping you at a distance. Take, for example, a workplace scenario. You share an idea in a meeting, and a colleague instantly praises it, yet their body language is stiff, their enthusiasm hollow. Later, you realize they never follow up or support your initiatives. This is a classic case of hidden dislike, surface-level approval with no real substance behind it. Even in friendships, you might sense this when someone suddenly becomes overly agreeable, but their actions lack genuine investment. A friend who used to engage deeply with you now only gives half-hearted responses, never initiating plans or truly listening. If you notice this shift, it's a strong indicator of concealed resentment. A Stoic approach? Observe without reacting emotionally. If someone's praise feels hollow, don't rely on their words, watch their actions. People reveal their true feelings not in what they say, but in what they consistently do. Number 2, they exclude you from conversations or plans. Exclusion doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes, people who dislike you won't outright ignore you. They'll just make small, calculated choices that push you to the sidelines. You might notice that when you join a group conversation, they suddenly become less talkative or redirect the topic. Or perhaps they plan group activities and conveniently forget to invite you. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of self-awareness. He taught that external rejection shouldn't define our internal peace. If someone consistently excludes you, don't chase their validation. Recognize it for what it is, a sign of their own discomfort, not a reflection of your worth. Picture a social setting, maybe at work or within a friend group. You see colleagues discussing an event that you had no idea was happening. When you ask about it, they brush it off with, "Oh, it was a last-minute thing," yet everyone else seems to have known about it for weeks. This type of subtle exclusion is a key sign that someone dislikes you but won't admit it. The same applies in one-on-one interactions. If you notice someone only talking to you when necessary, giving minimal responses, or steering discussions away from personal topics, they're likely creating an emotional boundary. They may not say they dislike you, but their actions make it clear. Rather than feeling hurt, use this as a sign to redirect your energy. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control others, only our own reactions. Instead of forcing connections, invest in those who value your presence. Number 3, they disregard or interrupt your opinions frequently. A major red flag of hidden dislike is when someone consistently dismisses your input. You may find that whenever you speak, they interrupt, talk over you, or barely acknowledge what you said. Even if they let you finish, their response is lukewarm, as if they're waiting for you to stop talking rather than actually engaging. Stoics like Epictetus taught that our words should be measured and meaningful, but they should also be respected. If someone routinely disregards your thoughts, it's a sign they don't value your perspective, often due to underlying resentment. Imagine you're in a meeting and you offer a suggestion. Instead of responding to your idea, a coworker immediately shifts the conversation elsewhere or repeats your point as if it were their own. This isn't just rudeness. It's a deliberate way to minimize your presence. Even in personal relationships, this happens. You might be sharing an experience, and the other person consistently cuts in with their own stories, showing no real interest in yours. This behavior subtly signals that they don't see you as important or worthy of attention. A Stoic response? Don't fight to be heard by those who won't listen. Speak with clarity and confidence, but if someone refuses to acknowledge you, recognize their behavior and stop seeking validation from them. Number 4, their body language betrays their true feelings. Words can be deceiving, but body language rarely lies. When someone secretly dislikes you, their physical behavior often exposes their true emotions, even if their words remain polite. Pay attention to how they interact with you compared to others. They might avoid eye contact or give you brief, forced smiles. Angle their body away when speaking to you. Cross their arms defensively when you're near. Lean away from you, even in group settings. Stoicism teaches us to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. If someone's body language consistently signals discomfort, take it as a sign rather than ignoring it. For example, you greet a coworker and they reply politely, but their arms are crossed, their eyes dart elsewhere, and their responses are clipped. They might not say anything negative outright, but their body is sending a clear message. Rather than overanalyzing, accept reality with a Stoic mindset. Don't force relationships with those who aren't open to them. Let go of attachment to approval and invest your energy where it's valued. Number 5, they show no interest in your success. One of the most telling signs that someone dislikes you is indifference. If they never acknowledge your achievements or ask about your well-being, it's because they don't care and possibly even resent you. A true friend or ally, even if not overly expressive, will at least recognize important moments in your life. But someone who harbors hidden dislike will remain silent when you succeed and uninterested when you struggle. For example, imagine you land a promotion, and while others congratulate you, this person remains quiet or gives a lukewarm, "That's nice." Likewise, when you go through a difficult time, they offer no support or seem impatient when you open up. Stoicism reminds us that external validation should not define our self-worth. If someone doesn't celebrate your success, don't let it diminish your achievements. Their silence is their problem, not yours. Number 6, they're passive-aggressive instead of direct. When someone dislikes you but doesn't want to be obvious about it, they won't confront you directly. Instead, they'll express their resentment through passive-aggressive behavior, making sarcastic remarks, giving you backhanded compliments, or using humor as a shield to criticize you. Stoics value directness and clarity. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that a strong mind is untroubled by pettiness. But when people harbor dislike, they often resort to subtle jabs instead of open discussion. For example, imagine you share an achievement and they respond with, "Wow, must be nice to have that kind of luck." It sounds like a compliment, but the underlying message is dismissive. They minimize your success rather than genuinely celebrating it. Another common passive-aggressive behavior is deliberately being unhelpful. A coworker who dislikes you might forget to pass along important information or take extra time to complete tasks that impact you. A friend might accidentally exclude you from group plans, but claim it was an oversight. A Stoic approach? Recognize these behaviors for what they are, signs of insecurity and resentment. Don't react emotionally. Instead, maintain your composure and focus on what truly matters, your own growth and peace of mind. Number 7, they offer fake apologies. A person who secretly dislikes you will rarely take accountability if they do something wrong. Instead, they offer insincere apologies or shift the blame. If they offend you, they might say, "I'm sorry you feel that way," instead of a genuine, "I apologize for what I did." In Stoicism, taking responsibility is a key virtue. Seneca taught that we should own our actions and accept the consequences with dignity. But when someone dislikes you, they won't extend this principle to their interactions with you. Consider a workplace scenario. A colleague messes up a task that affects your work, but instead of acknowledging it, they say, "Well, if you had been clearer, this wouldn't have happened." They subtly deflect blame onto you rather than owning up to their mistake. In friendships, this can look like someone constantly making excuses when they disappoint you. They forget your birthday. "Oh, I've just been so busy." They cancel plans last minute. "Well, you didn't remind me." Over time, this pattern reveals a lack of respect and a passive form of dislike. The best response? Don't demand an apology. Expecting accountability from someone who refuses to give it will only frustrate you. Instead, acknowledge their pattern and adjust your expectations accordingly. Number 8, they only interact when they need something. When someone dislikes you but wants to maintain a polite facade, they won't completely cut you off. Instead, they'll interact with you only when it benefits them. Their friendship or professional connection with you is transactional. If they need something, they'll act friendly. Otherwise, they keep their distance. Stoics teach us to recognize self-interest in human nature. Epictetus reminds us that most people act according to their own needs, not out of loyalty or fairness. If someone only reaches out when they need a favor, it's a sign that their connection with you is not genuine. For example, imagine a colleague who barely acknowledges you, but suddenly becomes talkative when they need help with a project. Or a friend who rarely checks in on you, but contacts you when they need a ride, money, or a favor. These patterns are not random. They indicate a lack of genuine care. The key to handling this is simple: set boundaries. Don't be rude, but don't let yourself be used either. If someone values you only when it's convenient for them, respond with the same energy, be polite, but keep your distance emotionally. Number 9, they downplay your problems and show no empathy. A person who dislikes you may not openly wish you harm, but they also won't show genuine concern for your struggles. If you express difficulty, they dismiss it with comments like, "It's not a big deal," or "You're overreacting." They lack empathy toward your challenges, even when they would expect support if the roles were reversed. Stoicism teaches us that suffering is part of life, but how we respond to others' struggles reveals our character. A true friend or ally will listen and acknowledge your hardships, even if they can't fix them. But when someone secretly dislikes you, they won't invest emotional energy in your problems. For instance, imagine you confide in a coworker about work stress, and they brush it off with, "That's just life," while showing no concern. Or you tell a friend about a personal hardship, and they quickly change the subject instead of offering any words of encouragement. Their indifference speaks volumes. The best response? Don't take it personally. As a Stoic, understand that not everyone will offer the same level of compassion. Instead, seek support from those who genuinely care, and don't waste energy expecting kindness from the wrong people. Number 10, they secretly compete with you. One of the clearest signs of hidden dislike is when someone constantly tries to one-up you. They may not openly attack you, but they subtly compete, downplaying your successes, exaggerating their own, or making sure they always appear slightly better in conversations. Stoicism teaches us that external achievements are fleeting, and true confidence comes from within. But insecure people feel threatened by other success. If someone dislikes you but won't admit it, they might turn everything into a competition. For example, you mention that you started working out, and they immediately say, "Oh, I've been working out for years, and I lift twice as much weight." Or you mention a recent success, and they counter with a bigger accomplishment. Their goal isn't to share, it's to subtly diminish your progress. This behavior extends to social circles too. If they see others giving you attention, they might suddenly try to outshine you, telling bigger stories, speaking louder, or exaggerating their achievements. It's a quiet form of rivalry fueled by resentment. A Stoic response? Don't engage. The need to compete comes from insecurity, and responding will only fuel their behavior. Instead, remain steady in your path, knowing that your worth isn't defined by comparison. Recognizing these behaviors isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. When someone dislikes you but hides it, their actions will always reveal the truth. Stoicism teaches us not to seek universal approval. Instead, focus on those who support your growth and let go of those who don't. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support keeps this journey alive. Stay mindful, stay strong, and remember, wisdom is power. See you next time.